So on this channel I almost always talk about my annual crops, but we actually grow quite a few perennials, and every year we plant more perennials. It's part of our strategy of making gardening easier year on year, and every year we get better at growing annuals, and so we don't need as many of them, and so that space that we free up goes to ever increasing numbers of perennials. So I've never added them up though, and so I thought I'd do a quick whiz around the two allotment plots, my allotment plot and Debbie's allotment plot, and the back garden, and just see how many perennials we've actually got growing and all the different types. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting for me as well as hopefully for you. So on my plot I've got this big polytunnel. There's no perennials in there, although everything kind of gets planted in the same places year after year after year. And then my main plot, which is kind of focused really on annuals all year round, although even on here I've got quite a few perennials that we're gradually introducing. So we've got a nice little pear tree there, so that's the first of our trees. We've got quite a few pear trees, and we've got some beetroot. Now we've got some rhubarb, which right now is just in containers because it's been held there, saved, until I can plant it in my new perennial bed. And then I've got ochre in these containers, and they actually always grow in these containers year after year after year, although the compost does get replenished. So I guess they're kind of like a perennial. They're looking pretty lovely. And then I've got strawberries here. These are my second early strawberries, and I use the runners from these in hanging baskets in the polytunnel. Every year I interplant garlic into this bed, so I have an annual crop and a perennial crop sharing the bed. That's quite a common theme for me. And then we've got the asparagus here, which is obviously a perennial crop. We've got two beds of asparagus, but it's also interplanted with these lovely spring onions down the centre, and that's absolutely crammed full, and we're just harvesting those as fast as we can. Obviously not fast enough. Huge number of annual crops. That's a bed of colettes there and a bed of onions here. But then we've got another perennial bed here, and this one is strawberries. These are an ever-bearing variety, and then there's two apple trees and a cherry tree interplanted into here, and we've also got some elephant garlic, and we always have elephant garlic in here year after year, and we just leave a few in there, and they go on for next year. And then we've got New Zealand spinach, and that self-seeds and grows again, although we also do transplant some of the seedlings and grow them all in the polytunnel for a bit of an earlier harvest. And then that bed there with all the sweet corn in it is probably going to be my new perennial bed, so we'll have a look at that. Mainly targeting this bed, it's going to be trees, a variety, a couple of apples, a couple of pears, plums, interplanted in containers with some blueberries and some rhubarb. So this is a difficult bed to look after. There's a lot of bindweed in it, a lot of mare's tail in it, and productive as it is with all this lovely sweet corn and winter squash, I am kind of looking forward to filling it up with wood chips and getting the perennial crops in there. And we've got gooseberries down here, and just gooseberries all the way to the end there. And that is kind of it for the perennial crops, apart from down the side of the polytunnel down here. And here I've got cherries, perennial flowers, perennial kale, the old perennial kale plant that this one is replacing, a pear tree, is that tree? Plum tree, an apple tree, a thornless blackberry bush, an apple tree, and another perennial kale plant. So although we grow loads of brassicas, the perennial kales are particularly useful in spring, just as the annual brassicas are going to seed. And then down here is Debbie's plot. This is full of perennials. Strawberries all the way down here. Herbs, loads and loads of perennial herbs. There's more herbs here. We've got rhubarb. And we've got a few different varieties of rhubarb, earlies and lates. Black currants, raspberries, I'm not exactly sure what this one is, but it's some sort of berry. It's a bit tricky to get through here, slightly overgrown. Red gooseberries, pink currants, red currants, plums, pear, no pears on it this year for some reason. More pears here, more asparagus. All this back border are a wide variety of berries, mostly blackberries, but also some berries and loganberries, and some artichokes, and a few apple trees, cherry tree down there, sunchokes here. These are a great winter crop of tubers. First year we've got a yacon, which is growing quite nicely. And then in the back garden, we're mostly annuals. We've got the grapevine at the back there, this cherry tree. I think we've got 4 other cherry trees down the side of the drive. And we've got another cherry tree here, and raspberries all the way along the back wall there. Perennial kales there by the garage. And then all of our perennial fruit. So we've got blueberries all the way down here. We've got gooseberries. We've got some gooseberry bushes in the front garden as well. Some more gooseberries, loads of blueberries. And then our main crop, strawberries. And these are just coming to their end of life now. So this is going to become a brassica bed, and the strawberries are going to move into one of these beds down here. And then all of this is annuals, and so that is pretty much it. In the front garden we've got 2 apple trees, and on the side on the drive, as I said, we've got cherry trees, pear trees and apple trees down there. So there we go, that was quite a lot, surprising number of perennials. Not all of them were 100% perennials, perhaps by the strict definition, but anyway, it's close enough. So my name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.